Hey, this is lifetime Cowboys fan Jim Saxton with Jim Saxton State Farm. You want insurance knowledge and old school service? Give us a call.
I want to be real clear. He wouldn't be sitting here today if I didn't think he was the man to lead this team to a Super Bowl. He would not be, and I have choices.
Coleman, Michael Coleman, sports director, KLTV. He's a veteran of Cowboys Camp. That's your guy, Jerry Jones. That look on his face when he says choices. What were your thought bubbles during that press conference with Jerry Jones?
Well, I think my first thought was he's putting to rest all the whispering of Sean Payton coming to Cowboys. And we all got it on tape. We all got it. So if he backs off on it, that's going to be the number one played soundbite in the history of soundbites of sports. But I think that was also his way of defending and taking up for Mike McCarthy. Because I really do believe, I do agree with him that those talks have been media generated. Let's face it. It's a clickbait thing.
It is.
And it seemed like, there was talk about Sean Payton years ago, but Sean didn't want to come. And so now that he's not the coach with the Saints anymore, and I think if he believes, it's a cruel world. If he believes he's going to just find some cushy job because of who he is, it's not going to be the Cowboys. Because what he wants with the Cowboys is what he wants with any team that hires him, from what I understand. He wants complete control. Well, you're not going to get complete control with the Dallas Cowboys. And he knows that because he was there with Bill Parcells years ago. And wherever you go, however you handle New Orleans is not going to be that way in Dallas. So I applaud Jerry for sticking out and sticking up for his guy and putting to rest, for now, McCarthy. And folks have asked me if I felt like McCarthy's under pressure. I don't think he is. All coaches, for the record, all coaches are under pressure. High school coaches are under pressure, right? Okay, let's just throw it out there. But what I've noticed about McCarthy is he's much more settled in as the head coach for the Cowboys. He's more relaxed. He's jovial. Gets some funny one-liners. He has not done that before. Now, granted, this is only his second camp in Oxnard because of COVID.
Yeah.
They kept it at home in Frisco. But he's more friendly with the media, the Dallas media, because he knows those guys. And just the one-liners he's been throwing out there. And then I had off chance of bumping into him when he was headed someplace I call it the campus, on the campus. I said, "Oh, hey, coach." He said, yeah, what's up? First of all, I wouldn't have done that before, but because he presented himself as being approachable at the podium, I didn't think twice. I said, "Hey, listen, I worked in Kansas City, and I did a story on Baker University, which is in Baldwin, Kansas, about 13 miles from where I grew up at. So I grew up in Lawrence." "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." So I did a story on you when you were coaching in Green Bay, that you had helped donate funds to Baker University for their brand new weight room. He said, "I never knew that, you did that." Of course, why would he know? There's no reason for him to know. But I just wanted him to know that, yeah, I'm familiar with who you are and what you've done. And he was really appreciative of that. And I was wearing I'm an Ali guy. So I was wearing, I have an Ali shirt where he's shadow boxing underwater, and he's a boxing fan. He kind of noted that at his presser, and he saw my shirt. So we think about my shirt. I said, "Man, that's Ali, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I've never seen a shirt like that before." So I was able to hit his high points of interest, and hope that parlays me in getting a one-on-one with him. That's my goal, because I want to do a one-on-one with him. I've done one-on-ones with Jerry. Jimmy didn't do one-on-ones with anybody, and Barry would talk to everybody. But Barry Switzer would talk to everybody. But with McCarthy, I thought, you know what? I think he's soft enough to let me spend 2 or 3 minutes with him. And I brought that to his attention. I said, "Look, I know I got to go through protocol, but I would like to get with you before I go back to East Texas." "Yeah, sure. Just let me know." So we'll see where that goes. And I told Arthur to kind of work on that too, because he's really friendly with some of the guys with the Cowboys folks who let you know who they're going to bring out and talk. But so McCarthy is comfortable, and he has said we're at a better starting line than we were a year ago. We won 12 games last year.
People forget about that, though.
People forget about that. Yeah, you lost 7, or 6. What is it? I do the math. 6. Yeah, 6. You lost 6. 12 and 6. But he's much more relaxed. He's grown into that role. And I know a lot of folks, when he got hired by the Cowboys, were like, well, he ain't gonna last long. And it wasn't so much on the wins and losses as much as it was speculated he and Jerry would be bumping heads. Well, I think Mike McCarthy is very secure in who he is and what he brings to the table, that he can survive and do his job the way he needs to do his job.
See, Coleman brought up a good point there at these training camps. I have not been at these training camps as much time as you have invested. For me, it was like three days tops. I remember now one in San Antonio one year I was there for 3 or 4 days. But what Coleman does is he creates these relationships and genuine about it. It's just like meeting somebody when you're networking, and it provides you opportunity.
Yeah.
What other observations from Coleman's eyes in Oxnard have you noticed that before we dive into our topics of discussion and sound bites that we have from the Cowboys, what have your observations from this camp to date?
Let's talk about Cee Dee Lamb, OU kid, been around for 2 years now. He's now the WR1. He embraces that. When he was asked, are you doing anything differently than you had before? He says, not really. I mean, and I like that attitude, because as far as he was concerned, although Amari Cooper was the guy, I'm the guy too. I mean, hey, I got drafted in the first round, so how could I not be the guy? And when guys have been the guy everywhere they've been, okay, so-and-so's gone, now you're the guy. Well, I've always been the guy. I just have more responsibility. And that's what I take from him. I did ask him, I said, for as much as you contributed as a rookie, and for as much as Micah Parsons contributed as a rookie, do you guys ever get together and say, man, we could be onto something big? He said, man, every day we talk about what the things that we can do. And then you throw in, he even brought up Trayvon Diggs. He said, the three of us, yeah, we're youngins and we're all on our rookie contracts, but that does not stop us from taking over and being who we know we can be. And so when they brought Micah Parsons to the podium the next day, I had asked him and brought kind of similar question about Cee Dee Lamb. He said, man, Cee Dee Lamb tells me all the time he wants to do great things. It's in his system. That's what he wants to do. Now, when a person shares that with you, he is sharing with you an intimate moment that goes on between he and his teammate behind closed doors. It's not just soundbite fodder. Those guys actually talk about how great they want to be. I mean, you remember, the story. Emmitt Smith put on the wall when he first came in as a rookie, things he wanted to do, and I don't know who his bunkmate was, but he kind of like chuckled. Well, you know what? If you're doing the chuckling, that means you're not going to be around very long. Because we saw the longevity of Emmitt Smith, right? And what he did. He's still the guy who comes to rushing yards. I don't think he has a touchdown. He may still have a touchdown record, but it wasn't about records as much as if I achieve these things, I am developing as a professional athlete. I am developing as a professional running back in this league that could be reckoned with for quite some time. And so now these young guys, that's kind of where they are. It's a different world. It's a different generation, and social media is a part of it now too. If social media had been around during the 90s for the Cowboys, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And that's the one thing I do get concerned about these guys, because coaches can't tell them don't do social media. You can't tell them that. But how do you separate being distracted by your phones to wanting to do great at what you do? I know in Kansas City, when I was there were some players on that team that word got out. The first thing they would do when they went into halftime was look at their phones. It's like, dude, your phone ain't going nowhere. If somebody loved you or they hated you, it's going to still be there for you when the game is over.
Turn it off.
You put your focus right there and turn that phone off. So that's the different element today, for these guys, because they've been in the spotlight all their lives, and now they're even more so in the spotlight because of social media. I just hope, I think they're disciplined enough now. I mean, social media's been out there for a while now. Guys kind of know how to deal with it. But I think with the Cowboys, I think they're with America's team. I mean, whether you like it or not, that's their moniker. Ain't nobody gonna rename anybody else America's team. They could go 5-12, and folks will say America's team, huh? Well, yeah, because you said America's team first. You didn't say you guys suck. You just said America's team, huh, with a question mark. You still refer to, even if you're being sarcastic about it, they are America's team. And I just think they have a handle. This team has a handle on what they got, a good blend of vets and young guys that can make a difference. And I think Jerry's going to get his money's worth. That means Super Bowl. I don't know. It could be too deep in the playoffs because they definitely. Here's another thing. They definitely understand about that game last year against San Francisco. When I asked DeMarcus Lawrence,
and we have that soundbite.
Okay, well let's go ahead and roll that.
Yeah, so DeMarcus Lawrence, this is immediately after you asked him that question about that season-ending loss.
Yeah, but it's okay to talk about the San Francisco game because that leaves a mark on our skin and helps us to understand that we still got a spot to grow. Had a great year last year. A lot of guys stepped up. A lot of guys found their identity in the defense, and also, being able to come back for a second year under DQ's system, heightens our awareness of, where we need to be. So I feel like it's going to be a great year. I feel like we still got a lot of growing to do, but we'll get there throughout this training camp.
Now, DQ, he's talking about Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator. So when that was his response to your question, what did you translate from his response? I mean, I feel like, yeah, they have not forgotten about it. They know they could have done some things differently, right?
Yeah, they do know that, and that's why you remember that game. You don't labor about it. You don't go all shucks. You don't do that. You think about, what did I do? Because the way they lost that game was bizarre. Okay, now if I'm D lost, like, wow, if I had made that extra push to get to the quarterback, or if you're the linebacker, if I stopped that first down from happening whenever, I mean, it could have been a first quarter, but now it's like, okay, it comes down to this. We're on offense, the last drive, and they had a meltdown. That referee has to touch that ball. Because a lot of guys play football but don't know the rules. They're great at the game, but a lot of them don't know the rules of the game. The ones who know the rules of the game are the guys that don't get a lot of time, but they study the game. It might be like the 43rd man on the roster. Probably knows the rules better than the guys in front of him. But he's not getting the chance to really play. So what's he got to do? Figure out how to play this game the right way. And that they become coaches. Those are the guys that become coaches. And so I think with the Cowboys, I mean, that was it's bittersweet because, yeah, you won the East, but then you were one and done. And so I just think, and even Dak brought it up. Dak says, hey, there's no reason for us to forget that game. We want to learn from that game. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I really believe they're going to beat Tampa Bay on opening week.
I can see that.
I really do. I mean, you get to Tom Brady early, and I think I mentioned this in our last talk. Their best game they played was that loss they had to Tampa.
Yeah. They looked really good.
I mean, the Zerline, he missed. He missed a key kick. But again, what teams have to understand is, whatever loss you had a year ago, why did you lose that game when you were in the game from the get-go? Eliminate those penalties. That's one thing McCarthy talked about. We have to eliminate the pre-snap penalties. So Dak's been working on his cadence, on the hard cadence and all of that. It's those little things. You know, it's those little things like that that get you beat and has you at home wondering what did we do wrong during the off season. Well, you know what you did wrong. Each player has to be accounted for that. You know, there are no takebacks, and so yeah, remember that game. That just sear in your head. We don't want this anymore, and I like this attitude with those guys.
I know one guy that's brought it up is our sponsor, Jim Saxton. Jim Saxton State Farm Insurance Agency, for all your insurance needs in the Austin, Texas, greater metro area. Give a guy a call, or he prefers SaxtonInsurance.com on the web. He's mentioned it, and we spent one time a morning of coffee just reliving that play.
Sure.
Like so many Cowboy fans.
Sure.
Have. And it's just, oh my God. But one of the guys on that play, Dak Prescott. It's his birthday week, Coleman, and so, and this is a soundbite from him when he was asked about that, and then I want to get your take right after of, man, celebrating a birthday, and you're working your tail off throughout the day. Here we go.
I'm sure a moment or so will come, and I'll do that. I like to reflect here and there, just to know where I come from and just knowing where I want to get to. It's a quick reflection, but it's definitely moving forward. As they say, the rearview mirror is a whole lot smaller than the front windshield. So, I think it's good to do that. I'll be 29th, golden birthday. So, planning for this to be the golden year. So,
the golden year. I love Dak. Oh, what is it? Dakota Rain Prescott.
Yes. How about that?
Did you see any form or any shape of him celebrating his cake day this week?
No, I think I think last year when they did it outside with a cake, and I think he had a cake to the face, and he had fun. I think they must have said, okay, it's not a really good look to see your number one quarterback and the face of the franchise get a cake in the face. We'll just do it in the locker room this year. Because I think CD said they were going to do it in the locker room. So I don't know if they did or did not. But, Dak, I was with a bunch of the media from the Channel 8 guys. You know those guys real well. We're having dinner one night, and the question was brought up, who's your top 10 quarterbacks? And most of us had Dak at number 10. And for those who didn't, it's like, well, why would you have – I can't remember who was in the spot.
Oh,
yeah, right. But Dak is a top-tier quarterback. Make no mistake about it. He's not a 5. No. He's not a 5, but he's in that bottom 5. And there's no reason why he can't be a top 5. They got receivers out the yang up here, and I think, oh my God. I mean, JT Vasher, I believe is his name. I got the roster somewhere. JT Vasher made I'm not an ooh-ah kind of guy. I'm like, that's pretty good. But he made a catch in the corner of the end zone that looked like the ball was overthrown. My man, he leaped up and snagged it in the corner with this much space being inbounds, and the crowd went crazy. I'll put it to you this way. It was such a spectacular catch, and yes, in training camp, but still, it was such a spectacular catch. Prior to that catch, wasn't nobody asking to speak to him. Okay? After that catch, that day, everybody was around this guy. And Dak said, don't sleep on this guy. Do not sleep on this guy.
I love Dak. He knows his team. He just like Tony Romo, he receives criticism that's, in my opinion, a lot of this is unpopular, unjust.
Oh yeah.
You're the Cowboys you're the QB1 of the Cowboys. You're going to receive more criticism than the president of the United States.
Oh, dude, make no mistake about it. I mean, why are you wearing those color shoes? It could be anything. It could be anything. If you're the Cowboys quarterback, you're going to get criticized. But like Dak said, it goes with the territory. He said, we get too much credit when we win, and we get a lot of the credit or blame when we lose. That's just the way it goes. And you got to be thick-skinned to be a quarterback, especially wearing the star on the side of your helmet.
Yes, it's a prestigious honor. Hey, you got a one-on-one interview with a guy who's a legend. And speaking of Dak, he's we talked about that offensive line in installment number 1. they have the components of a good offensive line and an incoming rookie.
Yeah.
Tulsa. But you talk to a guy that is probably one of the funniest human beings who has lost a lot of weight over the years.
Yes, he has. He really has.
Your guy, Nate Newton. I love this interview because you can tell MC and Nate have a history in this one.
Offensive line, you know about that part of football. Your thoughts on this one coming in, they're trying to groom.
You know what? If they can get Tyler at one position, that's left guard, and put him as a starter. I don't like the rotation that they're doing. Put him as a starter. Let him and Tyron work, man. Put Steele on that right side. You got all world at the right guard. Now we can start getting our center right because he's playing with two powerful guys in the middle. That'll help our center. And if everything go right, and if our offensive coordinator can scheme up a nice run game, then Dak will explode as a passer.
That's the key. The run game is the key, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the key, brother. To being physical, to moving people, bro. Don't get me. Have a nice day, man.
Take care, bro.
Yeah.
Nate, you could get 2 or 3 plays out of him a game right now, couldn't you?
Well, you know what? And when he was talking and being animated, you couldn't see it, but he grabbed me by my side, like, you know, he's doing that. And I'm ticklish. So it was all I could do to keep him from laughing, you know. And he did it twice, you know, because like, you grab me, he's tickling me, you know. He don't know he's tickling me. And I'm trying to keep my cool like I am being tickled, and I'm not going to laugh. But
elbow over here.
But he is speaking from experience. I mean, you know, this is a block and tackle game. It's going to always be that. I don't care what fancy name you want to give the offense. It's still about blocking. It's still about tackling. And that's where that was the foundation. That was the foundation back in the 90s, you know. And I kind of wince when they say the running back is no longer needed. You're lying. You're lying your tail off, because if you're a cold weather team, you need the ground game to do its thing, and you need that running back that can carry that mail, tote that rock. And so he makes a good point. That run game gets going, and I believe it. I really do believe it will be. Then Dak is gone. That's the pressure off of Dak. That is the pressure off of Dak, you know. And we've seen those great Cowboy teams in the past, you know, the run game and the pass game. In fact, I've seen more. I think like Andy Reid. I'm an Andy Reid fan, even when he was in Philly.
Yeah.
He had Donovan McNabb, but he also had Brian Westbrook. Remember Westbrook? Oh, he was a great runner, but you got McNabb, so that's where it was like a 60-40 kind of thing. And now he's got who he's got, number 15, the magician, but he has a plethora of running backs. And the question mark there is he going to balance it, or is it going to still be a pass-heavy team? Well, they're going to always pass, you know, but those running backs open those lanes for that QB, those fantasy numbers will rise.
If you're drafting your fantasy football team right now, where do you pick up Pollard?
Oh, Pollard.
Would you have him? Would you have him on the bench, or do you draft him?
No. I'm gonna draft him. He's probably my second or third back because he's fresh. He probably has the freshest legs of any running back that's not a rookie in the NFL.
That's a good point.
Use that guy. Put him to work. He's got a great set of hands. He had a nice little swing pass catch from Dak, you know, a little flare, you know, and he, I mean, it was just a flare. And then once he got it and he went forward, the way he slashed through the defenders at the angles, you know, get that ball to him in space and watch him work.
He gone.
Yeah, G-O-N-E.
So let me ask you this for Zeke. Does he look like he's on the back end of his career right now, or is he in top-notch shape?
And I guess I don't know if he's in the final year of his contract or the final 2 years of his contract, but he talked about that. He says, I know what I got to do. And he feels really good. He's looking good out there. And even McCarthy praises the work ethic of Ezekiel Elliott. I don't think that's ever been an issue with him, his work ethic. I think he came in from Ohio State ready to go to work.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that's a blemish, if you will, was when he held out that summer. I think 3 summers ago now. He held out for that deal. And maybe it was 2 years. And he hasn't lived up. Well, let me back up. I'm not going to say he hasn't lived up. He's only missed 1,000 yards twice. And even then, he still had 900 yards. Okay, so maybe that was maybe that was a penalty that brought about a 52-yard run back or whatever. But that's one of the things I had noticed when I did a piece on him this week. I said, why are we saying when we get the old Zeke back? He's always been Zeke. Now maybe the burst isn't there, but he is a hard runner. He's probably one of the more physical runners in the league. He can be caught from behind. We've seen that, but he's got that football instinct. I'd rather have a player with football instinct than speed, and he doesn't know what to do with the speed. That's where Pollard comes in. He's that back right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Zeke pounding, and even Mike said he's got the biggest head I've ever seen for a running back. So when he lowers his shoulder and he bulldozes his way, we're gonna get positive yards, and I agree with that. I agree with that.
And that's why in the modern era now, why running backs, their careers, and Coleman's a former running back, Southern Illinois Saluki, by the way, 2 to 4 years average, I believe, for running backs. Because now you look at 17-game season, you need 3. Yeah, you need a plethora of running backs, meaning 3 on the roster. It's hard to stay healthy nowadays.
No, it really is. Although we're in the passing age, you are right, because I think running backs, because they're seldom used, because they're not so much a part of the package like they used to, I think their conditioning kind of tapers off some. I mean, as the running back, it's up to the running back to do. Like, for instance, Fournette goes to camp weighing 260. Dude, you can't go to camp weighing. Well, you can, but they're going to knock it off of you.
And they're going to fine you. But if you're so busy trying to get rid of your weight, how conditioned, or how is your conditioning program going? Because now you got to do 2 things: get into shape, And I'll back to Zeke, one of the premier blocking backs in the league, bar none. This guy will pick up a blitz in a heartbeat. And I think, I kind of think that's where he gets hurt, because he gets that explosion from his hips. When he's going into that big 6'4", 6'5" defensive lineman, protecting Dak. I kind of think that's where some of his quad issues have come, and his back issue. I think he's had a little back issue, and I think that's what the knees from running. I think the quad issue is from lunging and hitting that big guy coming through, and not having all the leverage in the world, but have just enough leverage to slow that guy down for Dak to get that ball out of his hand. No, that's great analysis, and it's there's so much science involved nowadays for off-season, conditioning and the plyometrics, all that. That's why we always say, and I'm only in year 5 of it, or 6. That's why you see yoga, the yoga specialty, incorporated into workouts, flexibility and ligament health. So, one thing about Coleman, I know what he does. He really puts a lot of effort into his content, but rest assured, he's going to have a good time. He's going to have a good time. He knows where to go. He is a unofficial foodie, or are you an official foodie? No, I'm unofficial, man. I'm unofficial. I had some Japanese last night. I like sushi, and my photographer Arthur Claiborne and I went and ate, and I had it's called a poke salmon salad. Seaweed, the salmon, wasabi. I threw the wasabi in, but I even threw in, I was treating that soy sauce like it was barbecue sauce. I was pouring the soy sauce on my salad, and that was really, really good. And so I like to experiment with eating. I'm not going to eat an eel or anything like that, but I will give things a shot. Next time you're in Austin, there's a place called Tomo off of Palmer, and of course Uchiko.
Okay.
North and south. We'll see if we can business expense that somehow.
I like that.
We'll want that reimbursement. I like that. Nightlife. What's the nightlife like in the Oxnard?
Really? It really isn't. Now I know last year we all hung out, did some different things, but I've been kind of just coming back to the hotel room, just like exhaling a little bit and getting ready for the next day. I'm pretty sure the fellas were out and about doing stuff last night, but I think I'm saving myself for the Wednesday night media party that Jerry throws. And usually we're gone before that party, but we're sticking around an extra 2 days this year. And now some may say, "Are you sticking around because of the party?" Let me just tell you, didn't know about the party, but I do now. So I know the key. Stick around 2 more days and check out that party, because Jerry can throw a party.
Oh yeah.
Jerry throws a party for the media.
Legendary party planner.
Yes, he is. So the nightlife's kind of quiet. It's I just come back to the hotel room, just kind of hang out and watch TV. I was watching. There was a college game that was rebroadcasting. I think it was Georgia and somebody. I really don't watch Georgia, but they were on. So let me get in the mood for football here while I'm watching this game. So quiet nights. Now, I promise you, if LA was 20 miles away and not 55 miles away, there'd be a nightlife, my man. There would be a nightlife.
You'd be utilizing that Uber.
Yeah, right? 101 South. Let's go, baby.
My man. Staying an extra 2 days, that'll give us one more episode installment of here at the Campin with the Cowboys and Oxnard with MC. Hey, before we jump out, of the stories inside the Man Cave podcast, one of the OGs, that being Mike Murphy, the owner, operator of Last Stand Hats here in Austin, licensing agreements across this region of the country, colleges, whatnot. Well, my alma mater, Stephen F. Austin, is one of his recent additions, and this is why I'm wearing this shirt.
Okay.
So let's get you this. Look at
the
that.
Lumberjacks in the house.
Look at that, baby.
There you go. Yeah.
So, you go on to laststandhats.com. Hats galore. It's some creative. It's his own unique artist work, designs. They're in the NIL game too with some of these student athletes.
I'm going to look that up. I'm going to catch laststandhats.com.
Yeah, and they do a great job. He does, and he has a really good staff that, for the amount of people there, they have reached a tremendous amount of people. And check them out for you.
Great.
Austin gear.
Fantastic. Get them, Lumberjack. Get them.
Axe them, baby. Coleman. Man, it's always a pleasure. We always get a lot more than we anticipate, and that's a good thing.
Well, listen, it's always good catching up with you, and I want to thank Mr. Saxton for being a part of this endeavor here. It brings back Austin memories, good memories, and so it's always good getting with you, my man.
Hey, much love, my brother, and until the third and final installment for MC, we out.
Hey, this is lifetime Cowboys fan Jim Saxton with Jim Saxton State Farm. You want insurance knowledge and old school service, give us a call.